Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. and today we're going to be diving into a bunch of campaigns, the upcoming campaigns for August. We have a variety of campaigns, 20 plus campaigns or so, and as usual, disclaimer that I do work for GameFound before we dive into all of these, and we have around 20-25 campaigns, but as usual, throughout the month we're going to have more campaigns added, which is why I heavily recommend subscribing to Shelf Clutter. Adam puts out a video every single Sunday telling you the campaigns that have been added, changed, updated, all of those. He has the most up-to-date information because he does this weekly as opposed to once a month like I do. So he'll know about the new campaigns that'll be added throughout the month, because while I have maybe 20-25 or so campaigns to talk about today, and links and everything down below, at the end of the day, there will be a lot more than 25 campaigns through the month of August, and Adam focuses on more campaigns, some of the smaller campaigns, as well as all the new updates and changes, and there are frequently changes when it comes to the timing and pushed off of crowdfunding campaigns. So let's subscribe to Shelf Cutter, I'll have a link down below, and with that, let's go ahead and start off with August 1st, which is going to have Aethermon Collect over on GameFound. This is a charming little game. I will have coverage of this game as well over on the channel, but this is a charming little game that starts off the world of Aethermon from Aethermon Studios. They're going to have a variety of games in that universe, and their starting one is Aethermon Collect, which is a light little, put down a bunch of cards into a grid and try to collect those cards, either competitively or cooperatively, as you try to navigate and move around the grid to gather sets of cards and score them accordingly, while possibly using artifacts, relics, depending on whether they're playing it cooperatively or competitively. That's going to be launching August 1st on GameFound. It's going to be a cheap little, affordable little card game to start off their Aethermon universe. From there, coming August 1st as well, we have Call of Duty the board game. Call of Duty the board game is going to be launching over on Kickstarter from Arcane Wonders. I can't tell what the box for this game is going to be, because I've seen multiple box covers and I can't tell if they're changing it, or if that's the Kickstarter version of the box, or if they have multiple boxes. I don't really know. All I know is this is Call of Duty the board game, a simulated RTS strategy game where you're going to be planning out your moves simultaneously as you go through the game. It's primarily designed as a two-player game, but I believe there are other player modes as well. It's one I had a chance to play way back, actually, like last year. Gen Con I had a chance to play this one, and I believe I've heard from people who played it that the progress and development of the game has continued to change extensively as they've continued to fine-tune and tweak it. I hope to have a chance to, to play this one before the campaign, and we should have coverage over on the channel as well you can check out. From there, coming a little later in August, August 8th, we're going to have Algomancy. Algomancy is going to be a draftable card game for two-day players with deep strategic gameplay. I don't have a strong sense of what this game is like, past the fact that you're going to be drafting and building your deck. It almost seems to be simulating a CCG kind of feel, but in which you're drafting your game mid-game as you go, so you're building your deck by drafting with the other players, which is interesting. I'm curious how that actually manifests in terms of, does it just feel like a drafting game like Seven Wonders? Does it feel like Magic the Gathering? Where does this one actually land or feel? I don't really know. That's going to be Algomancy coming August 8th. Another August 8th campaign we're going to have is going to be Farms Race. Farms Race is going to be coming to you from, Medium Brow Games, Medium Brow Games would drop the W. But Medium Brow Games, Farms Race is going to be a game in which it's almost Catan adjacent, Catan with a 1984 theme pasted on, as you deal with the constant threat of nukes as you wander around a hexagonal grid with the various farm animals and their modifications or mutations, as it were, trying to claim land, gather resources every single round through rolling the dice and collecting for the various regions you have, building more and more terrain, building more buildings, and ultimately collecting and stockpiling nukes, because you need a few nukes in your arsenal so that when somebody else nukes you, you can nuke them back appropriately. So it's really an arms race. It's an arms race in the game as you strive to get to 10 points in this Catan adjacent game from Medium Brow Games. Medium Brow Games. I don't know, I'm getting so stuck on this W over here. But from there, we have as well this is going to be coming, I believe, August 8th as well. I think there's another August 8th campaign, Fighting Fantasy Adventures, The Warlock of Fight Top Mountain, and Other Stories from Martin Wallace Designs. This is one that was on Kickstarter, and they are relaunching it over on GameFound. This is going to be a sort of semi-dungeon crawler, but also semi-narrative-based game as you go through a set of cards that are going to, each story is told through its encounter cards, as you go through these cards and then simulate various, little skirmish dungeon matches on this little grid over here. So again, half exploratory, half dungeon crawler, half, abstract, half dungeon crawler. Too many halves altogether. That's going to be Fighting Fantasy Adventures, The Warlock of Fight Top Mountain, and Other Stories, I believe launching August 8th. They have a countdown timer. I just can't do the exact math from where I am, so let's call it August 8th. Another August 8th campaign we're going to have is Mistwind. We have a bunch of August 8th campaigns over here. We have Mistwind from First Fish Games. This is a game that I highly recommend checking out. I've had a chance to play this. I'll have coverage on the channel. I really enjoyed this game. I thought it was phenomenally well done, designed by Daryl Andrews, and it's a game of pick up and deliver, and if you are scared off by pick up and deliver, I tend to be scared off by pick up and deliver. It's usually not my genre, not my go-to, but I love how well this game is designed. Across 4 rounds, or 5 rounds if you're playing at higher player counts, but across 4 rounds of play, you're going to be building out your network, having your transporters, these giant flying whales, and then trying to navigate and ultimately pick up and deliver various goods in the game, both for points and for the economy of, well, getting more resources to build more stuff and manage more stuff. The trick of the game is that as you build your various nodes, I can't remember what they're called, but the various locations as well as your transporters, as you build these things in the game, you get free movement throughout the course of the game, and it's going to effectively be building up a tableau of how fast and how efficiently you can wander around the grid, making these deliveries. Plays very tight, it's a very quick and clean game, plays in 60 to 90 minutes. I think you can get it down to an easy 60 minutes once you know what's going on, once you know what you're doing. But this is Mistwind from First Fish Games. Thought it was very well done and was very impressed by this one. From there, we're going to have Ascendancy. Ascendancy is going to be a gigantic 4X fantasy meets worker placement board game experience that's going to have competitive and cooperative and solo modes. This is coming to you from Matthew Meeple, launching Tuesday, August 8th as well, so another August 8th Tuesday game. August 8th is going to be like right after Gen Con, so right after the buzz and hype of all the Gen Con announcements is going to be just a swarm of crowdfunding campaigns for you to back. But Ascendancy is going to be an epic game that's going to, again, have worker placement in a 4X experience with multiple player modes, a whole lot of powers and abilities and tons of things to be mindful of and manage. This is going to be a whole lot of game going on over here. Then we have Crumbs, the sandwich filler game. This is going to be the last of the August 8th campaigns before we jump to August 14th. But Crumbs, the sandwich filler game. This is going to be a solo or cooperative game, 18 card game, not from Button Shy Games, from Minerva Tabletop Games. But as you use your actions, try to stack sandwiches, try being mindful not to run out of actions as your actions reset, as you fill those orders as efficiently as you can. And before we move over to the August 14th games, a note from our sponsor today, WSBG. WSBG, the Rural Series of Board Game. September 24th to September 28th, they're going to have WSBG in Las Vegas at Bally's. This is a tremendous event. This is basically another board game convention, but it's an opportunity to make it the convention you want it to be. It's both an opportunity to win $40,000 by competing in any of the 16 game tournaments that they're going to have, the various 16 main ring events that you're going to have in this game, trying to play whether it's Terraforming Mars, whether, I think they still have Terraforming Mars, I'm pretty sure they still have Terraforming Mars, whatever the 16 games are that they have this year. I have to keep up to date which ones are left in, which ones are left. They're going to have Shut Up and Sit Down there apparently as well. They're going to have a bunch of special guests, a ton of special guests. They're going to have a variety of outer ring events as well, so you're going to be able to compete, you're going to be able to just hang out and play games. They're going to have Dice Tower West Library. You can compete in whatever degree you want, whether it's the full-on events, whether it's the outer ring events, or you could just go to play games and have a good time. This is an event I went to last year. I played one game competitively one time, played Seven Wonders, got out the first round, nicely enough to the person who actually won the entire Seven Wonders tournament, so at least that was nice. Not that I would expect to win regardless, but I had a ton of fun, primarily just from being there and having a good time with a gaming library, with enough people that it's a fun convention style atmosphere, but not so much people that it's an overwhelming event. I highly recommend WSBG, and if you use my code, I'll link to it down below, but if you use my code, you can also get $40 off one of the stay and play packages, one of the hiring packages in the game. But that's going to be WSBG, the sponsor of today's video. And with that, we move to August 14th, Midhalla. Midhalla launching on Kickstarter. Midhalla is going to be a half dungeon crawler and half a tower defense game as you go through a bunch of campaign-based experience where you're going to be leveling up across this campaign, unlocking new traps, being able to wander around and upgrade your character, put down new traps as you go through a bit of a campaign, bit of a story mode, wandering around the dungeon, unlocking different things, and trying to build up your character and build up the dungeon's defenses while trying to also lock down and close down dungeon tiles to stop them from continuously spawning monsters as you explore the dungeon further and further and have a degree of narrative across 3 rounds of play with each scenario, and then having a variety of scenarios in the campaign. That's going to be Midhalla, launching on August 14th. Then we have Perch coming to you from Inside Up Games, launching August 15th. This is going to be a 2 to 5 player game that I don't have a full feel at all of how this game plays. I went through the blurb on BGG. There's going to be some degree of tile laying, I think. I don't know how Perch plays. All I know is it's coming from Inside Up Games, obviously famous for creating Earth, one of last year's hottest games, or one of this year's hottest games. That's going to be Perch from Inside Up Games, launching on August 15th. Then we have Dominate and Delegate. This is going to be inspired by Commands and Color by Commands. I'm such a board game. I say Commands and Colors. This is going to be This is going to be inspired by Command and Conquer, by the CNC video games. They went from CNC to D&D. Dominate and Delegate in this war game with resources, base building, skirmish mode, up to 4 players. It's going to have that style, that vibe. I saw some pictures over on BGG. You can check them out. But it very much has that large, it looks like a Command and Conquer style board game. No idea how this one will actually play, but Dominate and Delegate coming to you from Thomas Denkheimer, inspired by still want to say Commands and Colors, by the Command and Conquer video games. It's been a while since I played Command and Conquer. Red Alert was amazing. Remember those terribly done videos? Remember Stalin in that video? Those little cutscenes where you had a real kind of, not like CGI, but actors acting out the entire... I like Red Alert. It's a good game. It's a good game. StarCraft, Red Alert, Commands and Conquers. I mean, a Stronghold. You ever play Stronghold? Like, those are some good games that were available back in the day. I mean, they're not available now anymore. I mean, they are available now. You can play them, but I don't know. I used to play a ton of video games. Now I just find myself wanting to play board games, and when I play a video game, like, I even downloaded Command & Conquer, Red Alert, like, the updated, enhanced edition, like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago maybe, to, like, dive into it and see if it held up, and it did hold up, but I lost interest after a day or two. Meanwhile, I'm here playing board games all day long, so I don't know. It's just different kinds of phases in life as far as our interests go. I'm kind of... I still like video games in theory, but mostly Slay the Spire style video games. Anyways, moving on to the next, we have Small City Deluxe Edition Spring and Summer Updates. This is going to be launching August 20th. It's going to be giving you more Small City content. I backed Small City. I have it arrived, and it's like, I want to play it, but I can't, in good conscience, back more content for the game until I actually try this. It's going to be a heavy Euro game. This is going to be, 2 expansions with 25 new expansions is what the campaign page says. I assume that means 25 new modules. I assume that's a whole lot of modules, a whole lot of modules for your Small City game. Coming to you from AV Studio Games, there's going to be 2 expansions and 25 modules or expansions for Small City, launching August 20th. Then we have Peacemakers Horrors of War, another August 20th game over here. I believe it's August 20th, August 21st, I think that actually is. But Peacemakers Horrors of War from Snowdale Designs. This is a re-implementation of their original Dawn of Peacemakers that was in 2018, if I recall correctly. But Dawn of Peacemakers was a game that you're... Well, Peacemakers, let's forget what Dawn of Peacemakers is. This has the same kind of theme, the same kind of general concept, while being very different. They even have this like fun little flip book and situation, lots of fun things. But this is a scenario-driven game in which we're going to be going through these multiple scenarios, either solo or cooperatively. I don't believe there's a competitive mode. I think it's solo or co-op. And effectively what you're trying to do is you're trying to bring peace to the battlefield. I think Dawn of Peacemakers may have had a competitive version. I don't know. They have the same core concept, but they've made a lot of changes. But the goal is you're wandering around this battlefield, and there are different factions that are fighting each other, and your goal is to stop them from fighting, to de-escalate the conflict, and to ensure you do it in a balanced way so you don't have one side simply winning over the others. You're trying to make the sides lose interest, lose energy in the war effort, and so you're going through that. You're trying to effectively make peace as you subvert the intent of the battlefield as you go through this one. They're famous for the Lands of Galzir. I believe is one of their more popular games that they brought in recent years, and that's one that I really want to get tabled, Lands of Galzir, but that's neither here nor there. But we do have Peacemakers, Horrors of War. They're going to be launching on GameFound August 21st. Then we have over here Dungeon Kart, coming from I'm blanking the name, Brotherwise Games, launching August 22nd. We have Dungeon Kart, a tabletop kart racing game from the world of Boss Monster. That's all the information I really have so far, past this fun little dial that they have, past the obviously being in the world of Boss Monster, and then past building out your own customized kart layouts as they go for seemingly a slightly Mario Kart adjacent style of gameplay, although any game that has any degree of racing and fighting just calls itself a Mario Kart. To be fair, they didn't call themselves Mario Kart, I'm calling them Mario Kart. But either way, that's going to be Dungeon Kart coming to you from Brotherwise Games, August 22nd. Then we have Galaxy Postman, a space adventure over here. This is going to be launching, I think August 27th, if I'm not mistaken. This one I'm not sure the date offhand. Later in August, Galaxy Postman. This is going to be Zaya Legend of a Drift System Lite. That's kind of what it is over here. It's going to be a game, well, not really, there's no combat in the game, but you're going to be going through the game, managing your actions, rolling dice to assign them to actions as you upgrade your spaceship and as you fly through the galaxy, trying to efficiently chart whatever is going to give you the most points across the, I want to say 7 rounds of play. I believe there's a 5-round short mode of the game and a 7-round slightly longer mode, but slightly longer is still manageable, coming in around 60 to 90 minutes for the gameplay in this 1 to 4 player adventure. There's a solo mode as well, but Galaxy Postman, wander through space, explore the galaxy, return aliens to the homeworld, pick up and deliver various goods as you go through it, and stop at various checkpoints to get the various rewards every single round. That's going to be Galaxy Postman, a space adventure from Hodari Spiel Games. Then we have Lands of the Mesozoic. This one was, I believe I talked about this one briefly last month. Looks like it's been delayed, but players will manage their ecosystem using the land, herbivore, and the cards of the Mesozoic area from Punjo Games. Like last month, I don't have a ton of information on this one past the blurb so far, but Lands of the Mesozoic coming to you, I believe, August 29th. Then we have Potions of Azerland. Potions of Azerland is going to be another, I think, August 29th game, if I recall correctly, coming to you from Warp Reality Games. This is basically a Euro game that's going to have you brewing potions, gathering resources, going through a unique action selection system as every single round you prioritize what you put these various tokens into a slot to prioritize the various actions you're going to be taking. We're going to market, trying to buy potions, trying to gather various resources. You're going to determine your priority based on revealing this little slot and board, and then use those to brew potions to get your specialty in place so that your potions in different areas are more efficient as you go through it, and ultimately deliver those potions to various people to gather these people and get their one-time or ongoing abilities as you go through the game. That's going to be Potions of Azerland, illustrated by Andrew Bosley as well, and from a new publisher, launching on Kickstarter on, I think, August 29th. And then from there we have three more campaigns. These ones are going to be loosely in August, assuming they hold to those dates. In general, when you have, just a note on the way crowdfunding tends to work, when you have a locked-in date, when the creator announces a date, more often than not, that date will be a little more fixed. More often than not a guarantee. Versus when it's kind of a generic, hey, likely August, that's usually more often when you see things pushed off, so I don't know what will happen to these or not. But starting off, we have Joyride, Survival of the Fastest. Speaking of Mario Kart style games, it's going to be coming to you from Rebellion Unplugged, who brought you Sniper Elite, the board game. Joyride is going to be a racing game as you wander across the board, smashing your cars into each other, and occasionally shooting rockets and things. You can be, if I recall correctly, I had a chance to play this at PAX Unplugged last year. If I recall correctly, there's some degree of shooting rockets at people, but I don't know for sure. I think you did. I'm 99% sure. I'm 99% sure they're shooting rockets. Yeah, here we go. There's literally a rocket on the screen over here. Ignore me. But Joyride, Survival of the Fastest, 2 to 4 player racing game. They have a few different things going on with this. There's going to be a bunch of, like, I think there's a side game as well. But Joyride, Survival of the Fastest coming late August or mid-August. Then we have Spectral and Trailblazers expansion. There's going to be 2 different games from Ryan Courtney from Bitewing Games, bringing us an expansion to Trailblazers, a game that I've really been enjoying a lot recently, the Sasquatch expansion pack, and then also bringing Spectral a deduction game. This is going to be a competitive deduction game as players try to figure out the exact layout of a mansion as you try to gather the things you want while avoiding the trap rooms as you go through the experience until all players eventually pass. So it's kind of a bit of a, I got vibes of Cryptid, if you ever played Cryptid from, can't remember the publisher, but if you ever played Cryptid, I got vibes of Cryptid from going through what Spectral is. Obviously designed by Ryan Courtney, so fantastic designer. So it's going to be Spectral and Trailblazers expansion, likely launching in August from Bitewing Games. And then lastly we have Worms the board game, supposedly coming in August. I'm not sure if this one will hold up in terms of, well, the date that is. But coming from Mantic Games, you have 10,000 people following the campaign. Worms the board game, unleashing tabletop worms. I don't know anything past that. Speaking of video games, we can go on a whole video game side tangent again. But I don't know if this is going to be for sure for August, and I don't know anything about the video game yet. All I know is this is Worms the board game, and that could be an incredibly, amazingly fun experience, or it could be a complete reminder of why some things are meant to be video games and some things are meant to be board games. That's not me hitting on the game yet. That's me being mindful of the game and how this one will play out. And that's what we're going to have coming for the month of August so far. And before we dive, well, first of all, reminder as usual to subscribe to Shelf Clutter and all of that. But past that, as far as my picks of the month over here, I'm going to pick a few things, just like highlights, in terms of things that are going to obviously be smash hits as far as their funding and how well they're going to do. Worms the board game is likely going to be one of them. With 11,000 people following the campaign, this one clearly has enough just general interest from people who've played Worms the video game and are interested in this, both in and without the video game space. And then obviously, similarly, we're going to have the same issue with Call of Duty the board game. This is likely going to be the highest funded game we see in August. If I had to guess, I'd say like 2.5 million, somewhere in that range. Maybe 3, but I don't know. In general, we've seen larger IPs failing to hit those large numbers. More and more, we've seen it just struggling to cross those millions, even for video games, even for popular video games, popular IPs, popular re-implementations, and more things have struggled to hit those high numbers. So I'm curious to see how well Call of Duty the board game will do. But again, I'd guess somewhere in the range of 2 million to 2.5 million. And then in terms of personal interest, I'm probably going to go with, I need to find my personal interest pick of the week. I have to go scroll all through all these, so excuse me while I go through them all. We have Fighting Fantasy, Mistwind, maybe, no. I feel there's something else other than Mistwind. Maybe it was Mistwind. It might have just been Mistwind. I mean, Peacemakers, I'm very interested in this one. I remember trying to dive into the original Dawn of the Peacemakers, and at the time, it was earlier when I first got into board games. That's not true at all. It came out in 2018, so it was later, so I don't know exactly when. But I remember that I struggled a bit with the rules in this one and didn't get heavily into it before kind of giving up on it. But I think I'd have to go. There's a lot of things over here that I'm either interested or enjoy, but I think I'm going to go with Mistwind as my personal interest pick of the month. I think so. I have to go through it. I feel like there are other stuff as well. But either way, Mistwind is a game that I definitely had a chance to. I definitely enjoyed this one, played it a lot, and had a lot of fun with it, and think it's an excellent game that is worth paying attention to. That is everything. That is going to be your games coming up, your crowdfunding games coming for the month of August. Reminder to subscribe to Shelf Clutter so you can continue to stay informed. And past that, we'll be back next month with more updates about these videos, as well as regular content about some of these games and a variety of other games throughout the month. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and I hope you have a good one.